At San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel blew our minds with one reveal after another. Lupita Nyong'o's in Black Panther. Spider-Man will fight the Vulture. Kurt Russell definitely has a penis in real life and in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. But the biggest bomb they dropped was that none other than Oscar-winning actress Brie Larson will be playing Captain Marvel. Now, many of you out there were cheering because, yeah, Brie Larson's a kick-ass choice to play this character. But many more were asking questions like, wait, who? There's how many versions? And don't you mean Shazam? No, I don't mean Shazam. Get out of here, Billy Batson. But don't worry, I've got your back. And on today's episode of The Dan Cave, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Captain Marvel. To call the history of Captain Marvel complicated is an understatement. It's like saying that Kel likes orange soda. Now, over the years, there have been at least 7 people that have borne the mantle of Captain Marvel, but we're mostly going to focus on the Carol Danvers version, since that's who we're going to be seeing on the big screen. Created by Gene Colan and Roy Thomas, Carol Danvers first appeared in 1968's Marvel Superheroes number 13. A former Air Force intelligence officer, Danvers now worked as a security chief at the NASA facility where the Kree superhero known as Captain Marvel worked. The youngest security captain in NASA history, Carol originally was something of a side character in Captain Marvel stories and eventually became his main squeeze. As always, though, maintaining any sort of emotional proximity to a superhero put her in mortal peril, and she had a terrible accident during an attack by the alien AI CyberX, which led to her getting infused with Kree DNA. Ew. No, not like that. Well, I mean, maybe like that, but no. This was a weird alien machine. Anyway, it left her with half Kree and half human DNA, a fact that she wouldn't discover, at least not right away. Removed from her post at NASA due to the rash of supervillain attacks on her facility, which, by the way, is total bullshit, a superhero works there, Carol resigned from the company and wrote a scathing tell-all book about the space agency. After that, she began a career as the editor of Woman magazine. Soon after, though, Carol began experiencing intense blackouts, during which time she would develop another personality who would put on a costume and fight crime as, wait for it, Ms. Marvel. Except, thanks to these constant blackouts, neither Ms. Marvel nor Carol Danvers knew of the other's existence, which I gotta say sounds pretty exhausting, and it also, throws Mr. Robot into sharp and sudden relief. You know what I mean? Thankfully, her mind was healed thanks to some otherworldly intervention from beings like Ronan the Accuser. Remember him? He's the guy who lost that dance-off in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, him. He's bad at dancing. Nowadays, the title of Ms. Marvel might actually sound diminutive, but in 1977, it was meant to be empowering, and Carol Danvers was meant to be a reflection of the burgeoning feminist movement at the time. Ms. Marvel would kick ass in costume, and Carol Danvers would kick ass in the workplace by lobbying for equal pay. And eventually, like any badass in the Marvel Universe, Carol Danvers soon joined the Avengers, fighting alongside them on some of their mightiest adventures. However, she was also subjected to one of the ickiest storylines in Marvel history. In Avengers number 200, it was revealed that Ms. Marvel was pregnant, and she quickly carried the baby to term, who then rapidly aged into an alternate version of his own father, because comics. Anyway, this guy turned out to be a bag named Marcus, who had brainwashed Carol and kidnapped her, impregnating her against her will, which, in case you don't know, is considered rape and is no laughing matter. Seriously, it's up. Then, as if this wasn't bad enough, the Avengers just let Marcus take her to this dimension known as Limbo, where she was trapped for a year. Thankfully, Chris Claremont came along and undid that garbage fire of a storyline by having Carol escape Limbo and return to Earth to cut all ties with Earth's mightiest pieces of shit. Seriously, friends don't let friends get taken advantage of, especially not by extra-dimensional douche weasels. Relocating to San Francisco, Carol soon found herself crossing paths with the X-Men. In a battle with the mutant Rogue, Danvers lost virtually all of her powers because Rogue absorbed them, which explains why she's so powerful in the comics and can fly and all that stuff. Anyway, that wasn't all that Carol lost. Rogue had taken many of her memories too, most of which were eventually restored by Professor X. Afterwards, though, Carol became a frequent ally of the X-Men, until she was abducted by Marvel's resident xenomorph cosplayers, the Brood, who blasted her with an evolutionary ray that turned Carol Danvers into the cosmic mutate known as Binary, who could generate the power of a star by drawing on the power of a white hole. And before you make a joke, don't! I've already thought of them all, and they are super gross. Really gross. So naturally, Carol did what any one of us would do in this situation. She joined the intergalactic band of adventurers known as the Starjammers. You know, that old chestnut. That old aliens turned me into a white hole controlling cosmic being, so now I'm a space pirate chestnut. Eventually, having depleted her cosmic powers, though, Carol decided to come back to Earth to forgive and forget the Avengers and rejoin Earth's mightiest heroes. This time, though, under the moniker of Warbird, for some reason. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be the happiest of reunions, with Carol struggling with both her memory loss and a crippling case of alcoholism. In fact, things actually got so bad that the Avengers formally court-martialed her at one point. Why? Because comics in the 90s actively hate you. Thankfully, things got better after that. She kicked her alcohol habit with a little help from Tony Demon in a Bottle Stark and even became the world's most popular hero. Now, granted, that last bit was because Scarlet Witch had a mental breakdown and merged Earth with an alternate reality known as the House of M, ruled by mutants, but Carol kept that positive momentum going and actually went on to become the leader of the mighty Avengers in the wake of Civil War, where she admittedly was on the wrong side of history and fought on the side of Team Iron Man. She also played important roles in massive events like the Skrull Invasion and Secret Invasion. She stood against Norman Osborn and his Dark Avengers during Dark Reign, and she even battled the frickin' Hulk and Fear itself. Finally, in 2012, in the wake of the Kree hero Mar-Vell's death, she adopted the moniker of Captain Marvel at long last, in an excellent series from Kelly Sue DeConnick and Dexter Soy. Nowadays, Captain Marvel isn't just one of the strongest characters in the Marvel Universe, she's also one of its most prominent, fighting alongside groups like the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Ultimates, the Avengers, and many more. Granted, she's currently embroiled in Civil War II, which has currently cost War Machine his life and left She-Hulk in a coma, but hey, you can't win them all, am I right? I'm right. So just how powerful is Captain Marvel? Well, she can fly at 6 times the speed of sound, including in space where she doesn't need oxygen. She has a spider sense all of her own, a limited precognitive ability she calls her sixth sense. She's resistant to most poisons and toxins. She has superhuman strength. She can absorb and redirect energy into powerful photonic blasts. And she's also a badass hand-to-hand combatant, spy, and pilot from her Air Force days. So in other words, you're straight up criminals. Straight up. And that, my friends, is Captain Marvel in a nutshell, or at least one version of her. So what are your favorite Captain Marvel stories? What do you hope to see in the movie? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to give me a simply marvelous thumbs up while you're there. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe, or else you're gonna miss out on next week's exciting episode where I talk about the story of a professional football team owner who realizes that reality is just a construct, and he's being hunted by renegade secret agents who want to keep him in a nightmarish flesh pod in any given Sundatrix. Until next time, keep on digging. Let's open up the old mailbag, shall we? At Emerald Knight 606 asks, when is your Nerdist overlord Chris Hardwick gonna have you on at midnight? Great question. You know what? I'm gonna ask Chris myself. Chris, come on over here. What? You're busy? The busiest man alive? You don't have time for my shit? No worries. I got you. Anyway, watch At Midnight on Comedy Central, Monday through Thursday. Great show. At Wonderboy25 asks, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Oh my god. I've wondered this since time immemorial. And you know who would know? You know who would know the answer to this question? Kyle Hill, at SciFile on Twitter. Tweet at him right now using the hashtag ChuckFacts to get the answer that you desperately need. Hashtag ChuckFacts. At Hall Lucier asks, what's your favorite horror movie to watch on a dark and stormy night? Ooh, I get scared real easily movie-wise, so if I had to pick, probably choose something that made me laugh too, like Cabin in the Woods, but if we're talking classics, I gotta go with Ridley Scott's 1979 epic Alien. I mean, it is just so damn good and really scary. So let me know, what are your favorite horror movies? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.